I didn't want to do it this way.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're looking at the times where this dark thriller series left fans open-mouthed in surprise.
Miguel!
9 holes tomorrow?
You bet.
Based on the setup for the big moments and the impact they had on the story. In case you didn't already know, the spoiler alert is in effect. Number 20, Finding Gellar's Body.
And upon his head's the name of blasphemy. So it's begun?
Yes. It's begun.
Season 7 opens with a misguided young man being manipulated by his radically evangelical mentor. Travis Marshall assists in multiple murders while under the guidance of Professor James Gellar, or so we're made to think. Believing Gellar to be behind the Doomsday killings, Dexter teams up with Travis to track down the maniac. However, Dexter is ultimately stupefied to discover Gellar's frozen remains in a concealed icebox. It turns out that Travis was only imagining his teacher's presence the entire time, and it's the student himself who's been committing the crimes.
So if you remove Travis's dark passenger, what are you getting out of this? Maybe I can learn to control my own.
This revelation radically changes the show's direction, and it establishes Colin Hanks' role as the primary villain. Some viewers might have seen this one coming, but the scene is still noteworthy as a narrative monkey wrench.
Did Travis act alone? Did Travis kill all those people?
Number 19, Dexter frames Paul.
Paul, you can't just walk in here whenever you want. You don't live here anymore.
Oh, sorry about that. Old habits.
Rita's ex-husband was an unloved demon who just wouldn't dissipate. Paul was abusive and possessive of Rita, as well as the family that she and Dexter were trying to have together. In violation of his restraining order, he visits and manipulates both Rita and his children. Despite Paul's efforts to appear like a changed family man, Dexter sees through the lies and gets really tired of it.
Is that it?
Yeah.
After an altercation and some choice words about Rita, Dexter knocks Paul unconscious and sets him up for a convenient arrest. Though the obvious answer to the problem might have been Dexter's table and plastic wrap, the framing ultimately became an unexpected and more intelligent way to dispose of this creep. The climactic scene was equally disturbing and satisfying.
It's time for you to go away.
Number 18, Killing Lila.
And you belong to it. To this shadow.
Dexter's efforts to conceal his nature from Rita led him into NA meetings, and there he met Lila West. Lila's past was comparably complex, with arson and malevolence being just the beginning.
I'm sorry, Dex, but she is gross. And pale. And nobody is pale in Miami. She is obviously a vampire.
While Lila became an intricate love interest for Dexter, she ultimately threatened the lives of his established family and conjured the blazing end to James Doakes. Despite the layers to their relationship, Dexter's choice to eliminate Lila was never a guarantee. Though she clearly meant something to him, the concluding moments of Season 2 saw Dexter claiming Lila's life. It's unclear whether the decision was propelled by Dexter's urges or a grappling sense of family and justice. Either way, he defied an alliance with someone attempting to come to his side. It was complicated.
I'm just like you.
Hey!
Number 17, Dexter learns he will be a father.
What should we do?
I don't know.
Dexter grew up with Harry Morgan as a morally gray father figure. Harry taught the boy many things, but he never showed Dexter how to be a dad himself. So when Rita's cravings for chocolate led to a realization of pregnancy, our anti-hero was just as unprepared as we were for the news.
I've done this before.
What do you mean?
I'm pregnant.
Dexter began his relationship with Rita as a tool to disguise his dark passenger, but a biological son drastically elevated his real-world responsibilities. And it gave us Harrison, who would become an instrumental figure in molding Dexter's character.
I thought you didn't know me.
You were right.
Fatherhood helped bridge the gap between the psychopath and the human, a story that was continued in Dexter New Blood. But it was this jaw-dropping scene at the kitchen table that started it all.
But it has to evolve, become my own. Change is good.
Number 16. Hello, Dexter Morgan.
I made that. When I was still confused.
The later seasons of Dexter have garnered mixed reviews, but John Lithgow's performances as the Trinity killer has been undeniably praised. Deservedly so, as he helped create one of the most intimidating rivals to Dexter that the series has ever known. One of his scariest power plays happens here, when Arthur Mitchell appears at Miami Metro and stares his counterpart directly in the eye. The Kyle Butler alias dissolves as Trinity threateningly shows his hand, and Dexter instantaneously understands that his life and loved ones are now threatened.
Hello, Dexter Morgan.
The appearance sets up a kill or be killed ticking clock that propels the season finale towards its violently tragic conclusion. And we'll never forget the way Lithgow's stare into the camera left our terrified spines convulsing.
You've done me a kindness.
Number 15. Zach Hamilton's death.
You have this, way of living that allows you to do what you and I have in common.
An unexpected development in Dexter's final episode suggested that he would be taking on a protege. Initially figuring Zach Hamilton to be his next victim, Dexter changes his mind when he learns that both he and Zach grew up with similarly violent tendencies.
You made a lot of mistakes. But for a first try, it's not bad. It's not bad.
With the help of his father's former psychiatric associate, he takes steps to teach Zach the code of Harry. For a moment, they all seem to be a twistedly affectionate family, but the prospect gets derailed when Dexter comes home to find his new student murdered. There's no time to mourn, since this event directly helps to uncover the true identity of the brain surgeon, the season's principal antagonist, and the tales of all three killers make for some difficult viewing.
Okay. Mom?
Number 14. Freeing Hannah McKay.
When it comes to you and killing, feelings never enter the equation.
A side effect of Dexter's sinister desires allow him to recognize identical impulses in others. So it didn't take him long to realize that Hannah McKay came with a murderous background. This time, Dexter used a first date as his guise to lure Hannah towards her premeditated doom. Killers they may be, but there was something heartbreaking about seeing Hannah on Dexter's table, only moments after they'd romantically held hands. We expected the worst until Dexter unpredictably diverted his knife. Instead of a victim, our homicidal protagonist suddenly had a lover.
I'm thinking the three of us could leave together.
I like the sound of that.
Until now, Rita had been the closest Dexter had come to a healthy relationship, but Hannah became a partner who could actually understand him. And we can't forget how she fearlessly met his menacing gaze.
Do what you gotta do.
Number 13. Debra's feelings for Dexter.
You're making it sound like I want to be with him or something.
Well, do you?
There's a lot to unpack about Deb and Dex's kinship, but this development took it a little further than what we were prepared for. During one of her therapy sessions, Debra talks deeply about her brother and the elaborate history that they both share. Deb's counselor offers the detail that they're not biologically related, trying to ease her client's mind about the arguable romantic emotions that she may be manifesting. We hope that this isn't the first scene of the show that you watched, because it could be hard to take out of context. Regardless, Dexter and Debra spent their entire chaotic lives backing each other up. While a declaration like this may be earned, it still fastened us to the edge of our seats.
I went to the church that night that you killed Travis Marshall to tell you that I'm in love with you.
Number 12. The Blood Room.
Hey, you okay?
Dexter's role for the Miami Metro has been fueled by blood and his gift for analyzing it. So nobody, Dexter most of all, expected a blood-ridden crime scene to shake this expert to his core.
You want to talk about what happened today?
Already did.
Dexter, the last time I saw you like that was when Dad died.
The scene calls back to one of Dexter's most significant repressed memories, the one that quite possibly made him the way that he is. The setting was arranged by the ice truck killer with the direct intent of thwarting Dexter's resolve, but the psychological trap did its job of forcing our anti-hero to face his literal and figurative demons. Fans engaged in the show with high hopes of seeing this forensic analyst and secret serial killer's history. The Blood Room was our first chance at finally doing so.
I don't share my problems with her, or with anybody. Harry taught me that. Secrecy, self-reliance, and a well-stocked cupboard of hefty bags.
Number 11. Debra's death.
You don't know Deb. She'll pull through this. I hear about miracles all the time.
Well, that's just it, I'm afraid. It would be a miracle.
Dex and Deb's bond has been a through line that held the moral and dramatic compass of the show together this entire time. Some fans might have thought that the end would involve Dexter taking his sister's life, but perhaps not in this way. After a gunshot injury sends Deb into a volatile coma, Dexter decides that his choices are few and grim. In an act that he perceives as merciful, Dexter pulls the plug on Deb's life support, later disposing of her body. Seeing him as the cause for all of it, he fabricates his own demise and abandons the family that he fears to harm. While much can be debated about this finale, Deborah's fate was undoubtedly paramount in the story's legacy.
I would change everything if I could.
Number 10. Debra discovers Dexter and Lumen's vigilante partnership. The 5th season's story involves Dexter helping Lumen catch Jordan Chase, the man responsible for nearly killing her.
So all this right here is a colossal waste of my time and yours.
Well, I've got nothing but time. So you can keep fooling everybody in your little seminars, but I'm on to you.
You're obsessed with me.
Dexter and Lumen begin a partnership and take down all of Chase's cohorts until they get Chase himself. Debra, who deduced Chase's truth herself and is aware of 2 vigilantes moving against him.
I know who you are. Number 13. And I know what they did to you. I've seen the tapes. I watched them over and over.
Catches Dexter and Lumen after their act of retribution, although with their identities obscured behind plastic. However, Debra chooses not to capture them. Having been disillusioned by Chase's protection through legal technicalities, Debra offers the vigilantes the chance to escape.
In an hour, this place will be swarming with police. If I were you, I'd be gone by then.
This moment is certainly adrenaline pumping as Dexter comes so close to getting caught.
For a while there, I wasn't sure. It's like what your sister said. It's a miracle.
Debra's need to prove herself made us think she'll snag the culprits, but her own sense of justice ultimately prevails. Number 9. Trinity is a family man. The 4th season's arc revolves around capturing the infamous Trinity killer, although Dexter gets involved halfway through. Debra is shot while investigating Trinity, and Dexter decides to find the killer to make him pay.
If Deb dies, I'll be lost.
Paramedics think the bullets are through and through.
She's gonna be okay.
It's looking good.
Who did this?
Despite tracking Trinity down, Dexter is unable to stop the latest killing spree.
If he's here, then where's Trinity?
He's still successful enough to follow Trinity back to his house, but is completely unprepared to see what's next.
No way I lose you again, Trinity. The Miami nobody sees.
He's scurrying back to whatever hole he crawled out of.
As it turns out, the man who's killed hundreds of people across decades has a family of his own. Dexter, who's faced marriage problems with Rita, is baffled how a killer like him can balance both lives. While Dexter's seen horrifying things, watching Trinity with his family scares him more than anything else.
Trinity's a husband, a father. He's like me.
Number 8, Doakes is captured by Dexter.
Surprise, motherfucker.
Having never bought into Dexter's facade of being a normal man, Doakes relentlessly pursues Dexter to learn his secret.
There's something off about you, Morgan. I should have seen it before. The fake smile, the donuts. You don't even walk like a normal person, you glide.
He finally finds success when Dexter scrambles to cover his tracks as the Bay Harbor butcher. Confronting Dexter, Doakes looks to bring him to justice.
What can I say? You were right about me. I never held it against you. I don't now.
My buddies thought I was crazy for becoming a cop. I had skills, I could have written my own ticket. And lately I thought they might have been right, but this?
However, he doesn't account for Dexter's killer instinct, as the latter turns the table on Doakes to capture him instead. The shocking aspect here doesn't just come from the capture, but the potential consequences to follow. Since Doakes doesn't qualify for Dexter's kill code, watching him take down Doakes carries the possibility of Dexter breaking his oath. It also seemed as if this was supposed to be Doakes' winning moment after having been defied by Dexter so many times.
You finally decided to fight back. I've been waiting.
Hope you don't expect me to comment on that, so you can record it on your hidden tape recorder. I wasn't born yesterday.
Number 7, Frank Lundy's death. A key character in the second season, Frank Lundy began a romance with Debra that was cut short after the Bay Harbor butcher case was closed.
When do we leave?
Not we. Me. Debra, I just got a call from D.C. A pattern of bodies was identified in Oregon. My flight leaves tonight at 7.
He returns in season 4 and begins the search for the Trinity killer.
In working with you, that noise has gotten
loud.
Deafening.
Things are on track for Debra for once, as she gets back together with Lundy, which is when everything comes crashing down. Debra and Lundy are shot at by an unknown assailant, leaving Lundy dead and ending this short reconciliation.
Don't go disappearing on me again.
Not a...
Lundy's death reinforced the idea that anyone can die in the show, as his return was initially set up as a big deal. The ambiguity behind the shooter spreads a sense of fear throughout the scene, making the Trinity killer seem even more dangerous.
Who did this?
We got here just before you did.
Quinn was first on scene. He says it's smelling like a vacation murder's MO.
Then that's...
Lundy.
Number 6, Dexter discovers Miguel lied all along. Assistant DA Miguel Prado witnesses Dexter killing Freebo, the man involved in his brother's death.
The knife ended up in his neck.
I'm gonna tell you something. I wasn't sure that I could do this.
He wins Dexter's trust after giving him a shirt stained with Freebo's blood that could be used as evidence.
I gave you my shirt linking me to Freebo's death. I wish I had another one to prove to you how important this partnership is to me.
I take a little remorse.
Their partnership reaches its peak when they kill together, but Miguel begins straying too far by breaking the code.
Not a good idea.
That would be against your code, huh?
Sorry.
Needing leverage, Dexter investigates the shirt, only to learn it was cow's blood all along. An incensed Dexter realizes Miguel played him to learn how to be a killer.
It's bovine, cow's blood. He's been using me The whole time. I didn't create a monster, I was used by one. He used me.
Having been charming and seemingly loyal, it turns out Miguel was so calculating he could even fool Dexter himself. This changes the entire context of the season, as Miguel is revealed to be far more dangerous than originally thought. Number 5, Doakes' death. Dexter's association with Lila proves to be a toxic influence, as she makes him alienate his family and friends.
Why would you try to have me killed?
You weren't going to get killed. That's why I did it at the bowling alley, so all your police officer friends would be there.
What were you thinking? Are you insane?
I was trying to bring us back together again.
Lila becomes obsessed with Dexter even after he dumps her, following his whereabouts to the cabin where Doakes is being held. Although clearly a villain, Lila wasn't presented as a killer until here, when she decides to cover Dexter's tracks.
You can't leave me in here like this. You'll be an accessory.
I'm not gonna leave you. Not like that.
Mercilessly leaving Doakes to die in a cabin explosion, we watch as Lila leaves Doakes to his pleas of mercy. Doakes was a main cast character and a parallel to Dexter, so it was unexpected to see him meet such a horrible demise. There's also the fact that Doakes was technically the hero here, and his death meant there was no justice to be found in this story.
Nobody mourns the wicked. Sorry, James.
Number 4, Debra learns Dexter's truth. During a widely disliked plotline, Debra's therapist convinces her she's in love with her adoptive brother Dexter.
He actually said, "I love you."
Wow. That's big, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he understood that I'm in love with him, but still he said the actual words for the first time.
Meanwhile, Dexter tracks down Travis Marshall, the Doomsday Killer, and takes him to the church that operated as his hideout.
You are a shining example of how putrid man has become.
I am a father, a son, a serial killer.
Having been told by Dexter that he was running forensics at the church, Debra arrives to tell him her feelings, only to witness Travis's demise. The episode's focus was mainly on Dexter's hunt for Travis and Debra's arc, both of which are instantly shut down in this scene.
If there's a purpose to my darkness, maybe it's to bring some balance to the world.
With mere moments left before the end of the season, we're left with the reality that Dexter has finally been caught. Significantly, it's one of the few times that Dexter expresses pure terror, as Debra sees who he really is.
Oh God.
Number 3, the ice truck killer's identity. The ice truck killer has the drop on Dexter the whole time and looks to recruit him.
Merry Christmas, Miami.
In the penultimate episode of the first season, Debra's boyfriend Rudy proposes to her, which she happily accepts.
Hold on, wait.
Well, you're sort of forcing my hand here. I wanted to wait until we were out in the water, but here goes.
It's here when Rudy suddenly changes his attitude, going from a nice person into someone filled with malicious intent. Rudy reveals he only got close to Debra because of her status as Dexter's adoptive sister, and captures her.
You're a cop.
Funny.
I think a real cop would at least have a sense that she was the presence of the person that she was hunting.
In an even bigger shocker, he confesses to being Dexter's biological brother Brian, and sees his identity as the ice truck killer as a compliment to Dexter's own killing nature.
You remember now?
Bryony.
You always had trouble saying Brian.
I have a brother.
A real brother.
This revelation brings all the plot points of the season together, with an outwardly harmless man becoming the main villain. Number 2, Debra kills LaGuerta. LaGuerta deduces Dexter as the Bay Harbor butcher and arrests him.
It might be best if you take Harrison to another room.
Because?
But I'm placing you under arrest for the murder of Hector Estrada.
Although Dexter manages to wriggle out, he realizes she will never stop pursuing him or Debra, and decides to kill her.
I'll use Estrada's gun to shoot LaGuerta, so it'll look like they killed each other. Yes. Dexter, Where will this end?
Luring her into the kill room for another victim, Dexter successfully ambushes LaGuerta, but is interrupted by Debra, who tries to convince him otherwise. Debra is faced with the impossible choice of killing her brother or protecting him, and chooses the latter.
It's okay. Do what you gotta do.
This results in Debra killing LaGuerta, something that absolutely shatters her. In a truly overwhelming moment, we watch as Debra mourns her act of murder, with even Dexter feeling remorse. It signifies how far Dexter has gotten, clearly coming across as the true villain of the series.
So when we break those rules, we risk losing ourselves and becoming something unknown. Who is Deb now? Who am I? Is this a new beginning?
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. Rita's death. In the 4th season finale, Dexter finally captures Arthur, the Trinity killer.
Hello, Arthur Mitchell.
He even contemplates leaving his dark passenger behind for his family, but comes home to find his world upside down.
Hey, sweetie. I'm a dope. I was in such a rush to get Harrison organized, I forgot my ID for the plane. So I'm zooming home for it. Means we'll be on a later puddle jumper, but we'll still be there waiting for you.
It's revealed that Arthur had tracked Dexter's home and caught Rita, who becomes the final tragic victim of the Trinity killer.
I accept nothing. Nothing is inevitable. It's already over.
Dexter ultimately loses when he should have won, as Arthur gets the last evil laugh from beyond the grave. The moment breaks the foundation of Dexter, as Rita's death means nothing will ever be the same. It gives Dexter a painful reality check, with his decision to let Arthur live earlier coming back to haunt him.
Child with a big knife.
You dream of a heaven you'll never see.
I don't believe in heaven.
Oh, but you do.
Rita's demise also represents the loss of innocence, as her son is left to weep in her blood. Which shocking Dexter reveal do you think should have made the cut? Let us know in the comments.
I have moved on from my father, but I still need his code, now more than ever.
Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from WatchMojo and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.